you reference this? Where would you start? What are you looking for? You're going to do this in Harvard. What information do you need first? And every article has information in different places, so you often do have to look around. And sometimes you need to go back a screen to make sure you have all the information you need. What might you look at for this one? It's the beginning of the article at the bottom of the page, because sometimes and often information is at the bottom of the page that you need. So what would you start with? What's this helping students meet the challenges of academic writing? What's that article going to be referenced as? What's the author's name? Start with author. Yeah, good. Why not Linda? We don't care about her first name. I mean, she does, of course, but we don't need to know Linda. We will use the initial, but where will we use the initial L and A, if you wish? In, yes, but not in the in-text. Big mistake students make sometimes is to put that in the in-text. So it's going to be Fernston and, yes, reader. If it is in text in the brackets, we use the sign of an and, the ampersand. If it's outside of the brackets, we would put AND. So two authors in this case. And Mary becomes an M and Linda A becomes an LA in the reference list. So that is the most important thing to look at first, because this is going to be under F in your reference list. What else are you going to need? Being Harvard, there's no comma after the final initial of R.
The name of the year?
Yes, which is, where are we finding the year? Do we look at the top, do we look at the bottom? It's actually, fortunately, both, but the top is probably the best place. 2011. Do we need to know that it was April? Is that important for a journal article? No. With web pages, sometimes that's what you look for because they don't have a year. So it is good to look for the copyright, check it. But most importantly here is you don't need April unless, for instance, you have no numbers that you can put in. So in this case, it's probably, volume 16 is important. We need to know that, and we need to know number 2. We don't need April for our Harvard referencing style. The only time I see us include maybe a month is when there is no volume or number month, and that they're using the month as a way of creating a numbering system, but it's not common. What is the journal title here? How do we know this is a journal? What do we look for there? We know there's numbers, so that tells us it's an article of some sort, usually sitting in a series. It's a journal. What is the journal called here? It's going to be one of our titles. Yeah. So sometimes that can be tricky because this over here isn't the journal article, a journal title. What's that one over there? It's to do with the group who publish it. Yeah. So and sometimes that group could be the journal title, but in this case, clearly, it's called Teaching in Higher Education. It's like doing detective work. You've got to look around. They all are different. They come from different journal types, different databases. In America, they often use some slightly different information. But as a student, you have to work that out for your Harvard style. There's one other very important thing at the bottom of the page here that we want to collect because this journal is online, and just about all of your journals, well, pretty much all of your journals will be online. As a marker, we want to know that. You must include information about it being an electronic source, and what information do we need? A number in this case, if not a number, a link. Because that shows us, and that number we call a DOI. We're very fortunate with this article, it has a DOI, so we don't need to worry about the link. But if there is no DOI number at the bottom there, quite often they're at the bottom, they usually start with 10. Sometimes you find them on the previous page, which you click on for the PDF, so you do need to look for it. But as a researcher, you must collect this information to make your life nicer and quicker. I can tell you, going back to look for these is very time consuming. If no DOI, if it's an older article, it may not have one, or some databases don't have them, I've discovered. you look for a home, or this is APA, we look for the home page, but with Harvard, we look for a link, URL. And it could be the link to the journal. Has anyone used Google Scholar before? No? Google Scholar is one way sometimes when you go to find articles, and you're actually it will take you to a database. It will give you a database link usually. So, in this previous example, we were fortunate to have a DOI number. What I want you to identify here is which one is Harvard and which one is APA. These are two valid references, including the electronic details. Which one's Harvard and which one's APA?
The top one is Harvard.
Good, okay. Now, why do you care? A lot of your referencing that you will look at or even collect in journal articles is often in this style. And students often copy and paste that, and that's fine. It gives you all the details, but it's not Harvard, and you need to change it. Probably the biggest thing to look out for is the brackets around the year. Harvard does not have that. But often I see students with mixtures in their reference list because they've copied and pasted from their journal article, or they've asked the program to cite it for them, and it's given them APA style. This article here didn't have a DOI, for example, so we want to find the link, and one trick you can look for is the little click here. We call this the permalink, which helps you to get the PDF as well. But this link will give you an idea of that URL which you would like to copy. And notice this one, how many authors are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be something that would be et al. In text, but you would have to write all of those surnames with initials in your reference list.